Coming this April, the $20 million PFL World Tournament. Single elimination. 8 weight classes, 8 fighters in each. With just one shot to realize their dream.
One shot for my family.
Uma chance para inspirar meu país.
The PFL World Tournament. One shot at greatness.
The brackets are locked. The matchups are set. All 8 divisions, all 64 fighters, all 32 matchups. The journey to a PFL World title begins here. We are just moments away from revealing the full tournament lineup. Who's facing who? Who's got the toughest path? And who will rise with one shot at greatness? The PFL World Tournament Bracket Reveal Show, fueled by Valor, starts now. Welcome to an historic night for the Professional Fighters League. I'm Sean O'Connell alongside the legendary outlaw Dan Hardy, here to reveal the first ever PFL World Tournament bracket. The PFL is running a single elimination World Tournament, and tonight, for the first time anywhere, first round matchups will be revealed.
Absolutely, Sean. The PFL is elevating the sport with the World Tournament. It spans 8 weight classes and each will feature 8 elite fighters. It's a single elimination format. There's only one shot for each fighter. No second chances, no point system, just straight up competition in every single fight. You either win and advance or you lose and you're eliminated.
By the end of the show tonight, all 64 fighters will have their first round matchups revealed. And I think you'll be surprised how many of these matchups are incredibly high level, like matchups you might expect to see in the finals. These matchups are going to be setting the stage for an incredible season. 15 former world champions, fighters from 6 different continents, representing 30 different nations. Let's start with our welterweight division. Welterweights represent 6 nations and include the 2024 PFL Europe champion from Albania, alongside the first ever PFL fighter out of Greece. Here they are in alphabetical order. Yanis Bashar, Greek powerhouse. Mohamed Barkamov. This guy is a Russian submission specialist. Jason Jackson is a former Bellator champion and dominant wrestler. Masayuki Kikuiri, a Japanese veteran with incredible speed. Andrei Koreshkov, another Bellator welterweight champion from the past. He's got 18 finishes to his credit. Logan Storley, another former Bellator welterweight champion, and he's a 4-time Division I All-American wrestler to boot. Magomed Prince Umalatov, last year's runner-up. And Florin Zendelli, the aforementioned PFL Europe welterweight champion, making his leap into the PFL World Tournament. Let's jump right into the reveal here. Let's see who's facing off at 170 pounds as these fighters try to navigate their way to a 2025 championship. Keep your attention on the upper left-hand corner. This is a mega matchup. 2 former Bellator welterweight champions, Jamaica's Jason Jackson, Russia's Andrei Koreshkov. That's what I was talking about. High-level matchup in the very first round. This could be a final. Instead, it's happening in the first round.
It is an outstanding matchup. And representing Jamaica, fighting out of Killcliff Fight Club in Florida, is the 33-year-old Jason Jackson, a former Bellator champion with a 50% finishing rate, dominating his opponents with dynamic wrestling and his knockout striking. We saw that in the knockout victory over Amosov, where he claimed the Bellator welterweight title. And honestly, this guy is the guy to watch for every single one of these welterweights. He can wrestle, he can strike, and he's super fast and athletic. He can do it all.
Let's talk about his opponent, the Russian former champion, Andrei Koreshkov, Dan.
Another tough matchup. Hailing from Russia, we have the former Bellator champion, Andrei the Spartan Koreshkov. 14 knockouts in 28 victories, but it's the flying knees and the spinning attacks that we've got to watch out for from this dangerous fighter. But don't underestimate his grappling skills. He's got some really slick arm bars and some nice chokes in his arsenal, which makes him dangerous anywhere the fight goes. What a great fight to get this thing started.
Yeah, the craziest thing for me here is that, yes, one former Bellator champion is going to move on in the tournament, but that means another one is eliminated in the first round. His year is done if he doesn't get a win.
I mean, it just shows you the level of this welterweight bracket. You know, 2 former Bellator champs facing off in the first round. One of them is not even going to get close to the end of the tournament, which is quite impressive.
All right, so one of the next 2 fighters revealed will face the winner of that matchup. Let's return to our welterweight bracket to see what other gifts the bracket can bear. Now look at the lower left. Mohamed Berkamov, former ACB welterweight champion, that's a Russian regional promotion. He faces off against the 2024 PFL Europe welterweight title holder, coming from Albania, Florim Zendelli. Berkamov is 31 years old. He is 17-2. He's got one no contest on top of that. Coming off a huge win over a two-time PFL welterweight champion, Ray Cooper III, took home 2 championships. Yeah, Berkamov got him out of there. And he's taking on Florim Zendelli, Dan.
And what an opponent this is as well. The 2024 PFL welterweight champion. Zendelli represents Albania, but he trains in Germany alongside Peter Sabota, that UFC veteran with a great record, great ground game. Zendelli's looking to replicate that path carved by Dakota Ditcheva, win the European title, and then take over worldwide. Now, this 26-year-old's got 9 finishes in 10 fights, including 2 submissions, on his way to that European title. For my money, Sean, he's the dark horse in this bracket, and I signed him, so I'm going to take credit if he wins that tournament.
He's a Terminator. He'll fight through a broken nose, he'll fight through a broken jaw, a broken arm. This guy does not stop. Now let's move to the upper right-hand quadrant of our PFL welterweight world tournament bracket. Another Russian, Magomed Prince Umalatov, trains at American Top Team, and he's going to face off against Logan Storley, USA wrestler, a guy who was a 4-time Division I All-American at the University of Minnesota, and he represents a rival gym in the Kill Cliff Fight Club.
Now, April 3rd not only marks the 19th fight in Magomed Umalatov's record, but also his 33rd birthday. Coming off the first loss of his career, this Russian martial artist is looking to get back to winning ways and remind everyone how versatile and how skilled he is. And he's going to feel right at home in that Florida sun as he trains just a few miles away from the venue at that MMA powerhouse gym, American Top Team. I am excited to see what he comes back after that first loss, how he looks.
Well, responding to a loss is important. Having this guy as your next opponent after a loss, tall task, Dan.
All-American juggernaut Logan Storley brings that South Dakota work ethic and that bison strength to the smart cage on fight night. A 4-time Division I All-American out of the Minnesota University, Logan Storley is widely regarded as the toughest test by all of the fighters in the last year's bracket. Known for his strong grappling skills and that formidable ground and pound, his focus is to punish every single fighter that's in his path. That's resulted in 9 stoppages in 16 victories. And that ground game that he's got, that wrestling ability to ground people and bury them on the floor, is really quite terrifying.
So it's Russia versus USA. That's a traditional rivalry. It's also a gym rivalry. Magomed trains at ATT down in South Florida, not so far away. Kill Cliff, 2 of the best camps in mixed martial arts worldwide. What does the gym rivalry mean to you, Logan?
I think for me, I want to go out there. I want to represent my gym in the best way possible, get a win. And I know ATT is a great gym. I know Kill Cliff's a great gym, and I just want to represent my gym with 100% effort for 15 minutes, a dominance performance, and that's really what I want to show.
All right, prediction time, fellas. The Prince, Magomed Umalatov, you first. How does this fight go?
We'll see, but you know my style. I'm always looking for knockouts, and I will look for his mistake. And for me, important just to win, because now no points. But this is my style. I like to finish my opponent.
Logan, same question for you. How does this fight play out?
It's going to be 15 minutes of a hard-paced fight. I'm going to put the pace on. You know, I'm going to show that I'm the best in the world, and I got to go out there and do my job and win all positions, and I'm excited to show that.
All right, fellas, thanks for being part of our bracket reveal show. Good luck with the rest of training camp, and we'll see you soon. Dan, both these guys disappointed by the results last year. Now, Magomed made it all the way to the championship, ate his first loss in that one. And, of course, you mentioned it already. Logan Storley came in last year as a favorite, not just in his own view, but in the view of his potential opponents, and he didn't have a great season.
I mean, we could get a finalist in this fight. I mean, really, both of these guys are very, very talented. You've got to expect Storley's got to get this fight to the floor. And if he can't, how does he deal with the striking of Umalatov? That's the big question for me.
Well, that's one reason it's going to be a hot ticket in Orlando. One last welterweight matchup to reveal. 2 fighters making their PFL debut. First out of Athens, Greece, on an 8-fight win streak, Yanis Bashar, and he'll join Japan's #1 welterweight, Masayuki Kikuiri, both making their smart cage debuts. That's it. There you have it. The full PFL World Tournament welterweight bracket. Dan, this has traditionally been our toughest weight class, our deepest weight class. Is that true in 2025?
Yeah, I think it might be. I mean, we've got several former world champions in this bracket, as well as a couple of really exciting prospects, the like of Florim Zendelli, who is going to be trying to make a name for himself.
That's on April 3rd. The welterweights will be paired up with the featherweights. We'll reveal those matchups after this on how to score some tickets.
Orlando, the first round of the PFL World Tournament, is coming to Stage 19 at Universal Studios. Don't miss your chance to be part of these exclusive events, April 3rd, 11th, 18th, and May 1st. 64 of the best MMA fighters competing in 8 weight classes for one shot to be a world champion. Experience the PFL World Tournament live and up close at Universal Studios. Grab your tickets now at eventbrite.com.
Welcome back, fight fans. Sean O'Connell, Dan Hardy. On April 3rd, we're going to be cage side in Orlando calling fights. It'll be welterweights and this roster of outstanding featherweights. 8 fighters representing 8 different nations. 2 former PFL champs. Here is the PFL 145-pound division. Adam Boric, Bellator title challenger for a long time. He's 19-2 as a pro. Gabriel Braga, PFL finalist in 2023. Big time power. Nathan Kelly is a rising star out of SBG Ireland. He's 4-1 so far in the PFL, 3-0 in Bellator. Jeremy Kennedy, big time grappler, UFC vet, Bellator vet, now here in the PFL. How about Movlid Haibulayev being back? 21-0 with 1 no contest. The 2021 PFL champ. Remember, for a devastating flying knee. Taekyun Kim, 8 wins by finish on a 3-fight win streak. Yves Landu, big-time French powerhouse, 10 career finishes, huge athleticism, and Jesus Pinedo riding 3 straight knockout TKO victories, and he won the PFL Featherweight Championship in 2023, but it's been a while. The road to the 2025 PFL 145-pound world title starts with the upper left matchup. It's the featherweight champion, aforementioned Jesus Pinedo, making his much-anticipated return to the smart cage. Standing across from him, Hungary's Adam Boric. 19-2, as I already told you. A longtime Bellator title contender. This is a big-time first-round matchup. A lot of striking, Dan.
Excited to see both of these guys return. So fighting out of Lima, Peru is the 28-year-old PFL 2023 champion, Jesus Pinedo. With his constant pressure style and long-range striking, Pinedo shocked the MMA world by stopping Brendan Loughnane and Bubba Jenkins on his way to winning that 2023 PFL season. He didn't compete last year, and lots of people are excited to see his return. Interested to see what new skills he's added to his already lethal arsenal. And of course, the pressure's going to be on straight away. If you're up against Pinedo, you've got to get a big win. You've got to make a big statement if you're Adam Boric. And fighting out of Hungary is exactly that man. One of the most technical strikers in the division. His Muay Thai style, coupled with excellent footwork, is perfectly adapted for MMA. His movement makes him very hard to hit, and he's excellent at cutting angles to create attacks, breaking his opponents down and finishing half of them with a choke or a strangle. Like his opponent, he's had some time out of the cage, and he is rearing to go.
And we're joined now by Jesus Pinedo and Adam Boric facing off in the first round of our PFL Global World Tournament. Adam, I want to start with you. Jesus Pinedo knocks out anybody who stands in front of him, at least in a PFL smart cage. Are you willing to stand up with the former champion?
Of course, I'm not the other people. I am Adam the Kid Boric, and I'm a different breed.
Jesus, what will happen if Adam is willing to stand up with you in the smart cage?
Todo el mundo sabe que soy muy superior a él. Él es demasiado lento. Voy a ir, lo voy a presionar y esa pelea no va a llegar a decisión.
Any response to that? Too slow, Adam?
I mean, we see that.
All right, Jesus, you first. Give me a prediction. How does this fight play out on April 3rd?
Esa pelea va a acabar con un knockout o una sumisión en el primero o segundo round.
Adam, same for you. Give me a prediction on this fight.
I feel the same way, just on my side.
I guess we won't need judges in this one, fellas. Looking forward to it very much. Thank you for being here on the PFL World Tournament Bracket Reveal Show. See you soon. Dan, I hope that those guys are correct with that prediction. I don't want to see the judges involved in a fight like that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, both of these guys are going to try and make a statement in this first round. And two elite-level strikers, it's going to be a real dynamic fight, and someone's going to hit the canvas unconscious, I think.
All right, the eventual winner of that Pinedo-Boric matchup will face the winner of our next matchup that we announced right here. Lower left side of your bracket, 145-pound matchup featuring a 2024 PFL featherweight finalist in Gabriel Braga versus the surging Yves Landau. Yves, you know Landau. He built a 6-1 record in Bellator. He's on a 5-fight win streak. He's 37 years old, but he fights a lot younger than that. Dynamic striker, unorthodox style. And, you know, he says he's out for the Cedric Doumbé fan base. He wants to snatch away a lot of the attention that Doumbé has built.
But his opponent, Brazil's Gabriel Braga, enjoys nothing more than walking his opponents down and picking them off with fast, accurate, and powerful strikes. His ability to control distance makes him very effective on the outside. He's got a real fast jab, and he's got nasty front kicks to the midsection. There's no doubt that Braga's got the skills and the mindset to defeat anyone in this division, and that sharp shooting style could lead to some real highlight reel finishes. And I've cornered against Yves Landau as well. He is super sharp as well. Very dangerous person to pin down.
You see the emotion from Gabriel Braga. A lot of fans have really caught on with this story, rooting for him, as he's chasing this dream that he shared with his father, who was tragically murdered, taken away too soon. But now it's all about, can Braga get back to focusing and win these fights?
I can't imagine the pain that he had carried into the smart cage for those first couple of fights, but it seems to me like he's channeled that energy now. And, you know, in the name and the spirit of his father, he is going to drive himself through this tournament. I wouldn't like to be standing in his way, that's for sure.
All right, let's move across the featherweight bracket. Upper right-hand side, reveal the fighters occupying those spots. A consummate veteran, Jeremy Kennedy. He made his PFL debut back in 2019. He trains at Extreme Couture, and he's facing the 2021 PFL featherweight champion, Movlid Khaybulaev, a protege of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. He's making a comeback after a long time off. This is one of the most dangerous guys, not only in the division, but in the world.
They call him the Killer, and where he comes from, you don't get a nickname like the Killer unless you are an absolute savage. Flying knee again, Harrison hurt. Right hand from Movlid, and it's Khaybulaev with the takedown.
My biggest thing about Movlid is just he's very, very hard to beat.
Huge knee with the flying knee. Oh my goodness.
His knee here, one of the best knockout of all time in MMA.
Wow, I can't believe what I just saw.
You know, the perfectly timed leaping into the air ability to put you out cold. You got to worry about that on top of everything else that he does. That's a tough task.
The highlights really speak for themselves with Movlid Khaybulaev. The winner of Kennedy versus Khaybulaev faces the winner of the final featherweight matchup, completing our second of 8 division brackets. Ireland's Nathan Kelly, representing SBG Ireland. He's going to face off against the newcomer, South Korea's Tae-Kyun Kim. 27-year-old Nathan Kelly, 4-1 under this PFL banner. He also went 3-0 in Bellator, but he's looking to bounce back from a January loss to Ahmed Magomedov. He had Magomedov hurt. He wants that one back. His opponent, South Korea's 31-year-old Tae-Kyun Kim. 10-1 record with his last fight, a decisive first-round TKO victory in the UAE Warriors promotion. All right, Kim is from South Korea. Dan, you actually studied a Korean martial art, Taekwondo. Don't you have a black belt?
I do. I do have a black belt in it. I'm not sure how much use it was for me in my MMA career, but I certainly expect more from this fighter.
All right, let's take one last look at the now completed PFL featherweight tournament bracket. Another deep weight class, Dan, and a really good mix of guys with striking capabilities and also some grappling prowess here.
A lot of really exciting prospects there, Sean.
2 of 8 divisions have been revealed, 6 more to go, with many more high-level matchups yet to be revealed. On April 3rd at 10 p.m., you can watch the first round of the 2025 PFL World Tournament on ESPN2. Go to PFLMMA.com to find out where to watch around the world.
PFL World Tournament is here. Jason Jackson takes on Andre Korshkov in a clash of former champions.
I want you!
64 of the best MMA fighters competing in 8 weight classes for one shot to be a world champion. Don't miss the action Thursday, April 3rd at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN+.
Dan Hardy, Sean O'Connell. A welcome addition to the 2025 PFL World Tournament is the men's bantamweight division, which includes the 2024 PFL MENA champion and a host of outstanding athletes, just smaller than we're used to.
We've seen several outstanding fighters and performances from the 135-pound PFL MENA and PFL Europe fighters. Those fighters, like the PFL MENA champ Ali Taleb, now has the opportunity to move on to the world stage.
7 nations represented in this PFL bantamweight roster. So let's take a look at the 8 competitors set to do battle in our bantamweight world tournament. Here they are, once again in alphabetical order. Undefeated Irish prospect Kieran Clark looking to turn some heads. Jake Hadley, a former Cage Warriors champion. Leandro Higo, former LFA bantamweight champion and a longtime Bellator veteran. You see a theme emerging here. Sarvajan Hamidov is 16-0, undefeated Tajikistani sensation. Kasum Kasumov, Russian grappling standout. Magomed Magomedov, a former Bellator title challenger, elite Dagestani wrestler. He's got 11 submission victories. Zebinzui Ruiz, a Spanish Muay Thai specialist. He's going to have a hard time staying on his feet in this weight class. And the aforementioned 2024 PFL MENA champion, Ali Taleb, big-time finisher, 82% finish rate. Those are the 8 fighters stepping into the smart cage. No points, no second chances, one shot, win or go home. The road to the 2025 PFL 135-pound title starts with the upper left-hand corner of your bracket. Top bantamweights matching up: Magomed Tiger Magomedov against another international standout, Leandro Pitbull Higo.
One of the World Tournament's favourites will undoubtedly be Russia's Magomed Magomedov. The 33-year-old MMA veteran has been in high-level fights for many, many years and has a great deal of skill and experience. He's 16-1 when he signed with Bellator in 2020, having stopped 11 of those opponents. Coming off a split decision loss to the bantamweight champion Patchy Mix, Magomed will want to make a big impact this year and remind everybody in this bracket that he is the highest-ranked bantamweight. He's the man to beat if you're going to win the world title. And his opponent, a very, very dangerous jiu-jitsu specialist in Leandro Pitbull Higo. Over 50% of his opponents have fallen victim to some kind of submission. And there's a definite penchant for guillotines and chokes in his game. Higo's striking is also not to be underestimated. It's a useful tool when setting up his takedowns, and the 36-year-old will have to think that Higo is viewing these last few fights as probably the end of his storied career, a focus that's going to make him more dangerous than ever.
All right, let's get back to the bantamweight bracket and fill out this whole left side. In the lower left, it's the pride of Tajikistan, still undefeated at 16-0. Sarvajan Hamidov standing in his way, advancing to the semifinals, would be the UFC veteran Jake Hadley.
Bringing in an impressive 16-0 is Tajikistan's Sarvajan Hamidov, and he's ready to make a name for himself on the world stage. Among his toughest competition to date, there's no doubt about it. Now, with 5 knockouts and 4 submissions, he's got the ability to finish these fights anywhere. He's a well-rounded fighter with a complete skill set. One of only 2 undefeated prospects in this world tournament as well. In my opinion, if Hamidov's able to win his next 3 bouts, he may well be the best bantamweight on the planet. And then on the other side, England's Jake Hadley recently joined the PFL following a competitive 8-fight UFC career. He's a big, powerful bantamweight with almost 75% finishing ability. And at 28-year-old, we know that, he's probably going to move up a weight class again at some point in the future. This guy is going from strength to strength every time we see him. He has those searching hooks to the body which crushes his opponents and completely debilitates them. And if the punches aren't working out for him, he's got great scrambles where he can take people's back and choke them out. I think Hadley is a very exciting addition to this tournament.
Well, exciting for a lot of different reasons because, like you said, he's a bantamweight now, maybe a featherweight in the future, and obviously this is an incredibly deep bracket. Can he stay on his feet? Does he want to stay on his feet?
Well, I mean, this is the question. I mean, he's going to be trying to use that size advantage, whether that's bullying people in the clinch or hitting them with big power punches. But it's those shots to the body that really always make a difference in his fights, the big thundering punches to the midsection.
All right, let's head back to the bantamweight bracket and find out who populates the right side of this equation. Fighting out of the red corner, an undefeated submission specialist training at SBG Ireland, Kieran Clark, facing a very tough Russian in Hasum Hasumov. Only one loss against 16 wins on his record. That's 26 wins and just one defeat between the two of these fighters for those keeping score at home.
And two undefeated prospects, as I said, in this year's World Tournament. As I mentioned earlier, Kieran Clark is the other one, the other undefeated prospect. Now, 10-0, he's not had quite as many fights as his other undefeated foe, but SBG Ireland's representative is just such a slick operator on the floor. He's going to take you down, he's going to flatten you out, and then he's going to choke you out. And there's so many expectations around this young man, so many hopes from the Irish fans that this guy is really going to go all the way. And what an exciting opportunity for him to step into this bracket. Travelling from Grozny, Russia, Kasum Kasumov has a similar mindset to his opponent, directing his attack, choke them out as quickly as possible, and punch them as much as I need to get the process sped up. Half of his wins are by submission, and when you add a couple of second-round TKOs in there, you have a very dangerous fighter with nearly double the experience of his opponent.
So that's a big step up for Hasumov, obviously. Kieran Clark, Hasumov. These guys are not only fighting for a chance to advance in this tournament, world title implications every single time you walk into the smart cage.
I mean, this is why we had to add the bantamweight bracket. You know, every single one of these fighters that we've talked about, you've got undefeated prospects, you've got UFC veterans, and fighters that are really at the very beginning of a breakout superstar career. I think we've got a couple of stars in the making here.
All right, one fight left to complete our bantamweight bracket. Filling it out for us, Spain's Zebinzui Ruiz and 2024 MENA bantamweight champion Ali Taleb. In a night of firsts, Zebinzui, he is the only guy, he owns the distinction of being the first ever Spaniard to fight in the PFL Smart Cage. Not the only one, but the first to fight in the Smart Cage. That was a 2022 showcase fight. He won that by decision. Now he brings a 12-3 record to this tournament, and he'll take on Ali Taleb, who clinched the PFL MENA title just last November. Big-time power for this young man out of Iraq.
Scary dude. And riding a 3-fight win streak is Iraq's Ali Taleb. As you said, Sean, he captured that PFL MENA 24 title with a devastating first-round knockout. Living and training in Sweden, Taleb works daily on his skills with excellent coaches and training partners. And come fight time, his intensity is peaking. 12 wins on his record, 10 stoppages, 6 in the first round. Taleb is wanting to keep that trend going in this world tournament.
I'm joined now by Ali Taleb and Zebinzui Ruiz, two forward pressure strikers, and styles make fights. So I'll start with you, Zebinzui Ruiz. Fighting a guy who's so similar to you stylistically, how do you impose your will? How can you get the knockout over Ali Taleb?
Esta pelea va a ser una pelea súper interesante porque a la afición le va a gustar. Somos dos peleadores que vamos a acabar las peleas antes de tiempo. Y yo creo que va a ser una buena guerra y una pelea que le va a gustar al público.
Ali, success on PFL
Yes,
Europe, success in PFL MENA, and now you're on the global stage, and that style is a big reason why. Are you hunting for knockouts in this tournament?
Always, brother. We're always hunting for the big knockout, you know? I want to give the fans and PFL and everyone what they deserve, you know? What they deserve to see. And I'm going to give them a good show. Mark my words. It's not gonna be a war, you know, like he said. It's never going to be a war. It's going to be a fest.
Fellas, very much looking forward to this banger of a fight. Thank you both for being here. We'll see you in Orlando. All right, one more look at the completed 2025 World Tournament bantamweight bracket. The first round will be completed, and the bantamweight semifinals will be set come April 11th on ESPN Plus at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and on ESPN2 at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. What's the key matchup in this bantamweight bracket, Dan? Unfair question.
It very is. I mean, really is. Look, everyone's got to be watching Magomedov for my money. He's the highest ranked. He's got the best experience at this elite level. Anybody that beats him is on their way to the finals, in my opinion.
A lot of people thought he actually won that split decision loss against Patchy Mix, who might be the best bantamweight in the world. All right, April 11th, the bantamweights will be paired with the women's flyweights as the 2025 PFL World Tour rolls on.
The PFL World Tournament.
One shot.
One shot. One shot.
Oh, my goodness! Still get a little bloodlust every now and then.
64 fighters.
Down and out. That's the end.
Wow.
What a fight. Bring it on. It's not enough.
Single elimination.
Oh, is this it?
One shot. One shot. One shot.
Tell him I'm ready for anything.
One shot at greatness.
These are very exciting times here at the PFL, and you're looking at the 8 women competing in the PFL World Tournament Flyweight Division. 4 Brazilians, 2 former champions, 2 fighters making PFL debuts as they contribute to our women's roster. In alphabetical order, Diana Obsaragova making her debut, a Russian standout, great wrestling. Jenna Bishop, the high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. Now can she round out her game and have the striking catch up to the jiu-jitsu? Liz Carmouche, an absolute OG, a veteran, 10-plus years of elite competition. She's 41 years old and shows no signs of slowing down. Elora Dana making her debut as well. Ilara Joani, PFL veteran. 2024 did not make the advancement to the playoffs, but she's looking for revenge this year. Tayla Santos, 22-4. World title challenger in multiple organizations, and Juliana Velasquez, former Bellator champion and judo specialist. Don't forget about Kana Watanabe. She's another PFL veteran, great judo experience. Gave Liz Carmouche all she could handle, and then Carmouche pulled off the Hail Mary submission. All these 8 women are set to deliver high-level action inside of our smart cage. Again, no points, no second chances, one shot. It is win or go home. Let's take a look at how these women are matched up. Starting at the upper left, it's last year's finalist Tayla Santos facing off with the fellow Brazilian in Juliana Velasquez, the former Bellator champ.
The 31-year-old Tayla Santos, fighting out of Brazil, is one of the most recognizable and well-rounded fighters in the bracket. Santos blends modern Muay Thai style with excellent body lock takedowns and ground skills. Her experience competing in elite level competition, coupled with that excellent all-round skill, makes Santos one of the favorites to win the whole tournament. I mean, she really does have skills to take this fight anywhere, but of course her opponent on the other side, a judo black belt, another Brazilian fighter in Juliana Velasquez, a former Bellator flyweight champion. She'll know that this is the first round that's going to really determine one of the finalists in this bracket. Also from Brazil, Velasquez has that striking style to cause anyone problems, and her judo background could go a long way to keeping this fight standing where she'll likely be most effective. I really am excited to see how Santos deals with this, because for me, Juliana Velasquez has got some of the most dangerous striking in the division, but she also may have the wrestling to keep this one on the feet.
We had an opportunity earlier today to catch up with Santos and Velasquez, see their thoughts on the fight.
A Juliana, eu vejo ela como uma atleta bem dura, né? E eu acho que vai ser um confronto de estilos também. Eu acredito que nas lutas dela, ela busca mais a trocação, o jogo em pé, né? Ela é uma atleta dura, ela busca a trocação ali em todo o jogo dela. E eu também gosto muito da luta em pé, né? Eu vim do Muay Thai, mas geralmente nas minhas lutas eu busco o solo, a grade, né? Apesar de não ser minha raiz, é onde eu me sinto super bem também. Então acredito que, né, ela quer ir por esse jogo dela, né? Por ser o estilo dela, mais trocação, uma atleta mais dura em pé, né? E eu acredito que vai ser uma luta bem interessante de confronto de estilos mesmo.
É sempre muito ruim poder lutar com um brasileiro, mas a Tayla é uma atleta muito experiente, mas eu acredito que eu e ela vamos fazer uma grande luta, né? Temos o perfil de buscar a luta o tempo inteiro, então acho que vai ser uma a gente vai estar pronta para fazer um show para a galera toda aí.
That's the first of 4 women's flyweight matchups. Let's return to our bracket, reveal who the potential opponent is for the winner of that bout. Out of Japan, 13-3. She's got 1 no contest as well. Kana Watanabe squares off against USA's Jenna Bishop, who owns 7 wins against 2 losses. Watanabe returns to the PFL flyweight division. She went 1-1 in the regular season last year, and it was a last-second Liz Carmouche armbar. I mean, final 10 seconds of the fight, Watanabe would have made it into the playoffs. She showed incredible grit against a far more experienced Carmouche. She almost pulled off the upset. This year, she says it's going to be different.
She's got to watch out for those submissions, though, against Jenna Bishop. Representing Alliance BJJ in San Diego, California, is the grappling ace. And Jenna Bishop has really shown those skills. Even though she's young in her MMA career with only 9 professional fights, Bishop quickly is improving her striking and her wrestling game to support that already dominant jiu-jitsu skill set that she has. With over half of her victories coming by submission, all of her opponents know the danger there, which may open up the opportunity for Bishop to surprise them with some of those new striking skills.
All right, that makes the left side of our women's flyweight bracket. Up next, let's see who sits on top of the right side. It's an OG in women's mixed martial arts, Liz Carmouche, taking on Ilara Joanny. Both of these women competed in last year's PFL season. Joanny fell short of the playoffs. Carmouche did make it to the semifinals.
And Liz Carmouche, a pioneer in women's mixed martial arts. Carmouche's career spanned 15 years and 30 professional contests. A former Bellator champion, Carmouche defended the throne 3 times before signing up for the PFL 2024 season. At 41 years old, Liz looks as strong as ever, always well prepared, always physically and mentally ready for whatever may come. She may be the shark in this division, Sean, and with her fight IQ and her wrestling skills, she may be able to cut through the competition and make 2025 her year. From Fortaleza on the other side of the bracket, Ilara Joanny is a very, very dangerous fighter, younger than her opponent and has less experience, but she makes up for that with gameness and some real knockout punching power. Now, trained by the famed Pitbull brothers, Joanny embodies that never say die attitude. She can really embody that fighting style typical of that gym. And with the footwork and takedown defense that she has with those heavy boxing combos, she's really going to put heavy pressure on Liz Carmouche in this first bracket.
All right, final women's flyweight matchup to reveal now. Turn your attention to the lower right part of the bracket. 2 fighters making their PFL debut. Out of the red corner, it'll be Elora Dana, undefeated, 7-0, making the Smart Cage debut. Also a Russian counterpart, Diana Avsaragova, who enters the bout with a 6-1 record. 13 wins, 1 loss between these 2 competitors. Elora Dana, one of 6 undefeated fighters in the tournament, 7-0, 4 wins by submissions. She'll put her undefeated record on the line as she takes that 1 shot to advance. And opposite her, Diana Pantera Avsaragova. Dan, don't get excited. That's not a nickname based on her favorite band. It translates to leopard. 6-1. She went 4-1 in Bellator. All 4 of her victories came by decision, so she's willing to grind it out. It's a great opportunity for both of these women. One more look at our completed women's flyweight bracket. Dan, this is interesting, a very fascinating weight class, and of course, every one of these women is chasing an opportunity to fight Dakota Ditcheville.
You've got such real strong veterans, the likes of Liz Carmouche and Tyler Santos, and then new faces in the division, alongside the likes of Jenna Bishop, who, in my opinion, has got a real good chance of surprising a lot of people in this bracket.
There's a pretty clear line, I think. Half the bracket, very experienced fighters, going all the way up to Liz Carmouche, and then there's a bunch of newcomers who are trying to knock off those more experienced, those older women, and show that there's kind of a new crop of talent in this weight class.
Well, I mean, Dakota Ditcheville did that last year, and I would say that this crop of talent here, they might be the changing of the guard ready for 2026. By the time next year comes around, this flyweight division may look very, very different, and Dakota being the one to beat in it.
All right, we'll start to figure out the whole picture on April 11th, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. The coverage will be headlined by Magomed Magomedov against Leandro Ego. Tyler Santos against Juliana Velasquez. Go to PFLMMA.com to find out where you can watch around the world.
The PFL World Tournament.
One shot.
One shot. One shot.
Oh my goodness! Still get a little bloodlust every now and then.
64 fighters.
Down and out. That's the end.
Wow.
What a fight. It's not enough.
Single elimination.
Oh, this it.
One shot. One shot. One shot.
Tell him I'm ready for anything.
One shot at greatness.
Hi, I'm Dan King, the CEO of Valor Energy. We're proud to be partnered with the PFL and its incredible athletes, fueling their journey as they pursue their championship dreams. The upcoming season is shaping up to be a great one. We can't wait to see these fighters rise to the top, fueled by Valor.
It's great to have Valor aboard as we continue the PFL World Tournament bracket reveal, fueled by, of course, Valor. Middleweight division returns to the PFL with two former PFL champions moving to the middleweight ranks and two USA versus England showdowns. Here's our middleweight roster. Fabian Edwards, former Bellator standout and title contender. Victories over Gegard Mousasi, Lyoto Machida. Don't need to introduce him anymore. Aaron Jeffrey, a Canadian fighter. Impa Kasanganay, former PFL light heavyweight champion, moving back down to the middleweight division. Murad Ramazanov, he's 12-2. Those two losses came to the same guy, last year's champion at welterweight, Shamil Musayev. Dalton Rasta, powerful wrestler. Josh Chavera, one-time PFL finalist. Mike Shipman, Bama, Bellator, he's a veteran of the sport. Sada Busi, former PFL welterweight champion, now moving back to middleweight where he started his PFL career. 8 fighters, 5 different countries, 1 tournament, 1 shot, no second chances. With the roster set, let's reveal the upper left-hand side. The middleweight bracket looks like this. 2023 PFL light heavyweight champion Impa Kasanganay moves down to middleweight to face England's Fabian Edwards.
Man, what a fight this is. So 2023 PFL light heavyweight champion Impa Kasanganay moving back down into his original weight class, which is absolutely terrifying to think about it. So his footwork and speed reigned supreme in the 2023 season, allowing him to cut angles and close distance with fast punching combinations. At only 31 years old, Impa's already achieved so much in the sport, but adding a 2025 PFL World Tournament title to that resume would be incredibly impressive. And what an opponent he has. England's Fabian Edwards on the other side, one of the most technical and experienced strikers in the division. With wins over legends like Lyoto Machida and Gegard Mousasi, there's no doubt that Fabian Edwards has the skills to compete with any middleweight on the planet. After an unsuccessful attempt at the Bellator title in 2024, Edwards will be looking at this world tournament to get his opportunity for redemption, finally get back to that championship belt and get it around his waist once and for all.
All right, joined now on the PFL Bracket Reveal Show by Impa Kasanganay and Fabian Edwards. This is survive and advance. This is win and move on. This is one shot, a single elimination tournament. So why is this going to be the fight that I think it can be?
I'm not a fighter who's going to shy away. Like, I lost my last fight, right? So a guy like Fabian, he's a dogger. He's a banger. He's a guy who's going to test my chin. My great rugby coach in high school said the best way to respect your opponent is to beat them as badly as they can be beaten by. And that's the only way, that's the only mindset you can go in there with, right?
Fabian, how do we make sure we get the best version of you in this fight?
The best version of my fight, I always bring it, so it doesn't matter who I'm against. I just know the type of fight that I'm in, and he knows the type of fight that he's in. And once that cage closed, I will try to take him out, and he'll try to do the same to me, and that's the game that we're in,
Impa, same question for you. You get the call that, hey, your first round matchup is Fabian Edwards, a guy who's been in that middleweight title hunt for his whole career, basically.
When I got Fabian, though, I was like, respect. Like, it made me proud to be part of the PFL because you see them like leveling up. We didn't even have an 85 division the last couple of years, so the fact that we can headline this, that we can do this, like it's to me, it was a sign of respect. Fabian's here. He's a killer. Like, those are the fights you need to make. Those are the matchups they need to make. And now, like, you'll see. You'll see on that day.
Does the eventual 2025 tournament winner come from this fight? Fabian, you first.
100%.
I believe so. I believe we are two of the favourites, and I felt like Impa was the toughest fight. And yeah, April 18th, I'm going to have to take him out and move forward, So that's the game that we're in.
Fellas, appreciate you joining the show today. Stay healthy. Looking forward to this one. Dan Hardy, we talked about this at the top of the show. A lot of folks, when we leaked the roster, said, oh, Impa Kasanganay, Fabian Edwards, that could be a matchup in the finals. Only one gets to move on, though.
Yeah, I mean, to start the season off with this, I mean, it really does solidify the reason why we're adding this middleweight division in. I mean, Impa belongs in this weight class. Fabian is looking for this big opportunity to get himself back to the world title. For me, this is probably one of the best matchups that we've got in the entire first round.
Impa Kasanganay won a PFL championship at 205 pounds, a drastically undersized 205-pounder. Now he's at his more natural weight class, where I guess he should be even better. Scary.
Very scary. And, he's got the footwork, he's got the speed, he's got the power, but he's also got loads of experience now, which is really going to pay dividends this year.
All right, let's head back to the middleweight bracket, reveal the potential opponent for the winner of Impa Kasanganay versus Fabian Edwards. Lower left side of your bracket, USA versus England. Again, 2023 PFL light heavyweight finalist Josh Silveira facing England's Mike Shipman. Silveira, very interesting, versatile grappler, but he's found his knockout power, especially with the kicks. He made it to the 2023 light heavyweight final. 6 wins by knockout or TKO, 6 by submission. Very well-rounded. He's shown he can score finishes on the feet and on the ground. And he's got that grappling foundation, not only honed at American Top Team, he was a collegiate wrestler at Arizona State. That's been the key to his success. Now he's moving down to middleweight, a more natural weight class for him. He'll need to balance his strength and his endurance to hopefully impose his game against elite competition. And when I'm talking about elite competition, I'm talking about Mike Shipman, seasoned middleweight, history of finishing fights, big, strong, impressive, imposing, an 88% finish rate, knockouts and submissions to his credit as well. He had a lot of success in Bellator. He earned wins over really solid competition there. The defensive gaps in his game have been exposed against top-tier opponents. Now he wants to make a deep run in the PFL World Tournament, show that he's really grown as a fighter. He'll need to rely on that aggressive style, though. And, of course, I guess, improving his defense, like that matters. The left side of the middleweight bracket is now complete. Let's move to the top right to reveal that matchup. 2022 welterweight title to his credit, 20 PFL fights under his belt. I'm talking about Sadibou Sy, back for his 7th year of competition to face Dalton Hercules Rasta, who went 9-1 in Bellator.
Two physical specimens, these guys. So at 6'3" and boasting an 80-inch reach, it's hard to believe that the Swedish Denzel Sadibou Sy ever made welterweight. His long-range striking's created many highlight reel stoppages, including a record for the fastest knockout in PFL's welterweight division at 17 seconds. His kicks and knees to the body and head have ended many a fighter's championship aspirations, and his ever-improving takedown defense making him really, really difficult to take down and control, even when his opponents are on the back foot. And on the other side, what a powerhouse. Pennsylvania's Dalton Rasta, appropriately nicknamed Hercules, is a very physically imposing middleweight. He's looking to make a name for himself in this talent-stacked division. Rasta sets a ferocious pace, he maintains pressure throughout the fight, and he's mixing in striking with clinch work to exhaust his opponents and wear them down. And punching his way into takedowns really, really shows that full skill set that he has to put on his opponents in the fights. What a great fight this is between two guys that are perfect for this division.
We are joined now by Sadibou Sy and Dalton Rasta, a battle not only to advance in our middleweight tournament, but I think the battle for best-looking fighter in the PFL. I don't really like that title, but Sadibou, I want to start with you. Started at 185 pounds, moved down to 170, won a title, moved up to 205, now back at 185 pounds. Is this the right place for you at this point in your career?
Yeah, to be honest, I believe so. It cost me too much to try to make that weight. I couldn't make it without affecting my performance. So to finally fight in a middleweight again, I'm so happy. I'm so stoked.
Dalton, you're going up against the guy who's got a lot more professional fights than you. He's got the credentials I just talked about, a former champion. What are your thoughts on the experience disadvantage you carry into this year?
I'm excited about it.
It's something that I wake up in the morning and it gets me excited to train. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, and April 18th is right around the corner, so I can't wait.
Sadibou, is this the first time in your career that you've faced a fighter with a more impressive physique than you? And if so, how does that affect you?
What do you mean by that? I'm not just gonna give it to him. He has nice hair, though. I'm not gonna lie. He has nice hair, though.
Dalton, before we let you go, give me a prediction. How does the first fight of your PFL career go?
Win by all means necessary. If I want to win the tournament, I want to move on. I got to beat the person right in front of me at all costs.
Sadibou, you've already given us some of the best PFL highlights we've got. What does this fight look like?
The number one thing is race, but I'm always looking for spectacular finishes. So obviously that's what I'm going to do as well for this fight. So I'm going to take what's given to me. And so we'll be a little bit up to Dalton how it finishes.
All right, fellas, enjoy the rest of your training camp. See you soon. I love that fight, and that means one matchup left to fill out the PFL Middleweight World Tournament bracket. All right, through the process of elimination, it's probably obvious that the final middleweight matchup features Canadian Aaron Jeffrey against Russia's Murad Ramazanov. 15-5, that's Aaron Jeffrey's record. He's proven to be a durable and well-rounded middleweight. He's got a very high finish rate, 10 career knockouts, 1 submission as well. He's got effective striking. He's got good power. He's got a deep gas tank, even against high-level opponents. 4-2 as a Bellator fighter, and he's dangerous in striking exchanges. He actually has this crazy ability to neutralize elite grapplers. That's going to be tested, though, in this next fight, because Murad Ramazanov only has 2 losses, 12 wins, 2 losses. He brings a strong Sambo foundation, well-rounded skill set into this tournament. He was a national wrestling champion, and he's got exceptional grappling control. He scored 4 submission victories. He's also notched 4 knockout wins. Coming off back-to-back losses, though, they came to the same man, the eventual 2024 welterweight champion in the PFL, Shamil Musayev. If Ramazanov can impose his wrestling-heavy approach, that could present problems for Jeffrey. There's the completed bracket. You see the matchups, you see some of the championship credentials, and of course you see guys that are looking to make their mark in the sport. Dan, who's your favorite middleweight here?
Man, how can I pick? There are fighters in this bracket that I've not even seen them at middleweight for a long time. You know, the likes of Sadibou, Siimpa, Kasanganay, people that have been moving up and down weight classes because middleweight's not been available to them. Even Josh Silveira, I mean, one of the most well-rounded fighters in the bracket. I honestly think any one of these fighters could take the title.
Not only did Sadibou move up and down, and did Impa move up, but they won titles in places where they're not an ideal weight class for them. That's different. April 18th, middleweights square off in Orlando, Florida. They'll be joined by PFL lightweights. We'll reveal our lightweight bracket right after this.
Orlando, the first round of the PFL World Tournament, is coming to stage 19 at Universal Studios. Don't miss your chance to be part of these exclusive events, April 3rd, 11th, 18th, and May 1st. 64 of the best MMA fighters competing in 8 weight classes for one shot to be a world champion. Experience the PFL World Tournament live and up close at Universal Studios. Grab your tickets now at eventbrite.com.
Sean O'Connell and Dan Hardy here for the PFL Bracket Reveal Show. Next up, you're looking at 8 fighters competing in the Lightweight World Tournament. Talented group featuring champions, contenders, rising stars, a little bit of everything, all now chasing a PFL World title. Here they are in alphabetical order. Mads Burnell, durable grappler out of Denmark. He's a Bellator vet, a UFC vet, a Cage Warriors vet. He's fought everywhere. Clay Collard, fan favorite. Very exciting style. Alfie Davis, you could say the same thing about Alfie, except he's from the other side of the pond. English fighter there. Mark Jacasey, former UFC lightweight, dynamic striker, a lot of fun to watch. Brent Primus, former Bellator lightweight champion. Gaji Rabadanov, 2024 PFL lightweight champion, coming back for a little bit more action, this time in a tournament. Alexander Shabli, Russian standout, former Bellator title challenger. very balanced attack. And J.J. Wilson, well-rounded prospect, dangerous submission game, high-level competition, big-time experience building. It's a 6-nation group bringing a wide range of international talent and serious skills to our smart cage. Let's take a look at the upper left-hand corner of the bracket and reveal the first matchup in the lightweight division. Russia's Alexander Shabli, 19 of 24 wins by way of finish. He'll be facing the former lightweight champion for Bellator, the PFL title finalist, in American Brent Primus. It's USA versus Russia again.
So Russia's Alexander Shabli is the most composed and dangerous fighter in this bracket for my money. With 24 wins on his record and an 80% finishing rate, he'll be many fans' favourite to win the whole tournament. His 9-fight win streak was ended in a competitive bout against Usman Nurmagomedov, but with victories over 2 other competitors in the bracket, one of them being Brent Primus, let's see if he can replicate that previous performance and move into the semi-finals. Probably the one to watch for this bracket for my money. And Brent Primus on the other side will turn 40 a few days before he steps into the smart cage, but with that brings so much experience and knowledge. Certainly the veteran of the lightweight bracket, he has that tremendous experience and that pedigree as a former Bellator champion. Primus made a good run in his first arrival in the PFL, making it to the 2024 finals. Becoming the 2025 PFL tournament champion would be a crescendo to an already great career. But to do that, he has to defeat an old foe in this first round, and that is going to be easier said than done.
So the winner of that high-level face-off will meet the winner of this next matchup, which is a treat for the fans. Checking the lower left-hand side of our lightweight bracket, it's USA's Clay Collard against England's Alfie Davis. Cassius Clay Collard, 32 years old now, one of the most entertaining and unpredictable fighters in the PFL. He's a 2023 lightweight championship finalist, still chasing his first belt. Bringing high-level pro boxing experience as well. He's got unbelievable pressure, volume striking, incredible durability, a willingness to engage in these high-paced battles. He thrives in the striking exchanges. The challenges come in defending takedowns and then managing opponents who look to neutralize his boxing with their grappling-heavy game plans. Well, I don't know if that'll be the plan for Alfie the Axeman Davis. Dynamic, kick-heavy style. He's got a traditional martial arts background, a karate stance. He's got experience in the Bellator cage, 8-1-1 as a Bellator fighter. Known for his ability to control range, he's disruptive for opponents with a wide range of creative strikes. And his movement and the footwork, clear strength, he also has a great ability to defend takedowns. Cassius Clay Collard, though, probably not looking to take down Alfie. This, like I said, a striker's delight. All right, heading back to the lightweight bracket, we move our attention to the right side of the bracket. 2024 PFL lightweight world champion Gaji Rabadnov is placed here facing Congo's Mark the Bone Crusher Chikesi.
So Gaji Rabadnov hasn't lost a fight since 2020, and since then he's defeated 10 opponents, 5 in Bellator and 5 in the PFL. His combat sambo style and that background gives him all the tools that he needs to force these fights into the range that he prefers, and in his last 2 bouts they've led to spectacular knockouts. Calculated striking to precise targets sent Mikhail Dufour and Brent Primus crashing to the canvas, winning Gaji Rabadnov
Mark Chikesi out of the Congo. 18 wins alongside 7 years of UFC experience. He built a reputation there as a dynamic striker, compiled a big-time winning record. As PFL Africa launches this year, opportunities for fighters across the continent are going to expand, paving the way for more African talent to shine on the global stage. Chikesi looks to be the tip of the spear in that charge. All right, we'll finish filling out the bracket here in just a second, but did you see the red mohawk, Dan?
I did. He rocks it well.
Who wore it better? Look at that.
Well, I have to say, Mark Chikesi looks fantastic with it. And, with the knockouts that he's got on his record, he rocks that red mohawk much better than I did.
I don't know if that's true. You got a little bit more height on the red mohawk. And who did it first is always imitation, the sincerest form of flattery, right?
I suppose, but if I could replicate some of his knockouts, maybe I wouldn't feel too bad about it.
Let's finish filling out the lightweight bracket with a final matchup reveal. Mads Burnell coming off back-to-back PFL lightweight wins, and he's going to meet JJ, the Maori kid from Gleneaton down in New Zealand.
Hailing from Denmark and traveling the world refining his craft is one of my personal favorites to watch. Mads Burnell, a former Cage Warriors champion, a UFC veteran. Mads has great experience in his 26 professional bouts. A real student of the game, Burnell obsesses over old boxing footage, and you can see that reflected in his MMA game. His relentless boxing couples with fast hands and adaptable neck submissions. Opponents try to escape that pressure and they often go straight into those chokes. And on the other side, with a record of 10-1, New Zealand's JJ Wilson. One of the fresher faces in the bracket, the 26-year-old stands 5'11" with a 74-inch reach to keep his opponent on the end of that jab and try and set up takedowns. But with 3 first-round rear naked chokes, the Maori kid doesn't like to waste any time. This is a really dynamic matchup, this one, Sean.
Well, you've got the Viking spirit with Mads Burnell. You've got that Maori spirit, a little Haka versus Viking war chant potentially in this one. Get primal in a fight like this one, Dan.
I like it, absolutely. 2 warrior coaches and 2 real students of the game at different stages of their career.
All right, you can watch on ESPN at 7 p.m. April 18th. For continuing coverage of the first round of the 2025 PFL World Tournament, you can go to PFLMMA.com. Find out where to watch around the world.
Orlando, the first round of the PFL World Tournament, is coming to stage 19 at Universal Studios. Don't miss your chance to be part of these exclusive events, April 3rd, 11th, 18th, and May 1st. 64 of the best MMA fighters competing in 8 weight classes for one shot to be a world champion. Experience the PFL World Tournament live and up close at Universal Studios. Grab your tickets now at eventbrite.com.
All right, PFL fans, we've got a huge opportunity for U.S. residents. Our PFL World Tournament Bracket Challenge, fueled by Valor Energy. Visit PFLMMA.com/bracket. Make your picks for this year's tournament results. And if you fill out a perfect bracket, you can walk away with $100,000. Make sure to enter soon. Submissions close April 3rd. Sean O'Connell, Dan Hardy, are we eligible for that $100,000 bracket challenge?
I think we should be.
If not, I'm using a fake name and entering a bracket anyway. All right, 6 division brackets have been revealed. 2 more to go. Up next, everyone's favorite division, the light heavyweights.
And why is that, Sean?
Well, obviously, 205 pounds. Light heavyweights are your classic athlete, the perfect blend of power, agility, grace, intelligence, speed, good looks.
So this is nothing to do with the fact that you were the inaugural PFL light heavyweight champion.
I wasn't even going to mention that, Dan, but I'm glad that you did. Makes me feel good every single time. And I do fit right in because there are 3 other light heavyweight world champions on this 2025 roster. Here are your 2025 light heavyweights listed in alphabetical order. An international lineup full of championship pedigree. There are some rising stars as well. Carl Albrechtsen, Swedish veteran, Bellator alum. A lot of people think very highly of this young man. He hasn't yet broken through. Antonio Carlos Jr., former PFL light heavyweight champion, elite world champion jiu-jitsu specialist. Sullivan Khalid. He's only 6-1 so far as a pro, a former Division I wrestler, but he's got a 100% finish rate. Phil Davis, longtime veteran of the sport, Bellator champion, UFC veteran, NCAA wrestling standout in his own right. He's got a decade plus of top-tier experience. Carl Moore fought for a Bellator title just a few months ago, looking to get back to his winning ways. Marcelo Nunes, another Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist. He was once a heavyweight, now he's back here in the light heavyweight division. Simeon Powell, one of the rising prospects from the European scene. Beautiful striking, unbelievable physical profile, tall, long, rangy. Rob Wilkinson is also back, 2022 PFL light heavyweight champion, dangerous striker, 10 knockout victories, elite grappler as well. That's a roster with fighters from 6 different countries. It is stacked with finishers, and we focus on the upper left-hand side of the bracket. This is a big-time matchup to reveal right out of the gate. Phil Davis, former Bellator champion, stepping into the smart cage for the first time against a former PFL champion in Rob Wilkinson.
Man, that is a huge fight. And with 32 professional fights on his record, Phil Davis is the most experienced fighter in the tournament. After a successful wrestling career as a 4-time NCAA All-American and a national champion at Penn State, Davis transitioned those skills into a mixed martial arts career. He's fought his way to a Bellator championship, showing a well-rounded skill set with striking and submissions to complement that already formidable wrestling foundation. Now a PFL World Championship belt would go really well in that already stacked trophy case, would you not say? And on the other side, the Australian scrapper Rob Wilkinson has amassed an impressive record of 19-3, picking up the PFL Light Heavyweight Championship along the way. Always the aggressor, Wilkinson likes to push his opponents around the cage, bullying them with punches and knees, and with a nearly 90% finishing rate, it's clearly very effective. He's going to need to set the pace and force striking exchanges to win this tournament, and takedown defense is going to be a big part of that game plan, especially in this first bracket against Phil Davis.
Yeah, Phil Davis appears to be timeless. He's 40 years old, and he's still going strong. I asked him, what is the key to competing at this level into your 40s?
The key, I think, is never stopping. Basically, with a few minor tweaks, my training schedule's been the same for the last 10, 12, 13 years. So, I'm able to maintain that I'm ready for a fight because I know what it takes to get there. I know what it takes to how many rounds you need and how much energy you need to put into your training each and every day.
Were you surprised to see this matchup right off the bat? I mean, you're a Bellator champion. He's a PFL champion. There are, quote-unquote, easier draws in the bracket, but this is the one you get right out of the gate.
I can tell you this. When you're concerned about, matchups or, seeding, all that stuff, you're not ready to be the best in the world.
So tell me how this first one plays out against Rob Wilkinson.
The only part that I have figured out is that I win the entire tournament. I win the first fight. I win the second fight. I win the third fight. I win it all.
Well, welcome to the PFL. We've been watching you a long time and very much looking forward to calling my first Phil Davis fight. Stay healthy, and we'll check you out soon. The winner of that bout will face one of the next two fighters. The matchup between Sullivan Cauley, 6-1, 5 knockouts, facing a submission specialist in Marcelo Nunes, who's moving back down from the heavyweight division. Now, Sullivan Cauley, Dan Hardy, he was a Division I wrestler at Arizona State, so potentially a grappler's delight. But Cauley, he likes to knock people out after he takes them down.
Well, this is it. I mean, 100% finishing rate. It's quite clear that everything is geared towards taking his opponents out. And I think he's going to need to use those wrestling skills in this fight to keep it standing and make sure those punches land.
Bubba Jenkins, Cain Velasquez, CB Dollaway. Arizona State Wrestling has produced some nasty fighters. Maybe Sullivan Cauley is the next one. All right, let's return to the bracket with an upper right reveal. Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr., 2021 PFL Light Heavyweight Champion. He's back, he's healthy, taking on Carl Moore, fighting out of SBG Ireland in Dublin. A Bellator title contender looking to get back to his winning ways, Dan.
And a Brazilian jiu-jitsu wizard in Antonio Carlos Jr. may be the most dangerous grappler in the whole tournament. His approach is single-minded and effective. Get the fight to the ground at the earliest chance and then strike and pressure until a finishing option becomes exposed. 12 submissions in 16 victories, 7 of those by rear naked choke. Many opponents, they know what to expect from him, but can they stop him doing it? Absolutely not. He takes them down, he strangles the life out of them. And on the other side, Carl Moore is a very tough and durable individual. He gave a great performance in front of the Irish fans when he tried to collect that Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship. And he's going to learn a lot from that fight, of course, and he's going to be trying to put those learnings into practice in this next fight. He's tough, he has great wrestling, and he puts pressure on people with his boxing and his takedowns. He's great at grinding his opponents down and breaking them in the later rounds. And if he can weather an early storm and defend some submissions, this may be his tournament to win.
All right, I'm joined now by two incredible light heavyweights, Antonio Carlos Jr., affectionately known as Shoeface, and Carl Moore, The Fighting Pride of Ireland. Welcome, fellas, to the Bracket Reveal Show. Carl, I want to start with you. How do you balance focusing on this fight, but also taking a look at what else is happening in the light heavyweight division?
It's a really strong bracket. Antonio is probably one of the more dangerous guys to fight, but like I said, Sean, I wanted these type of fights early on because you're going to fight these guys at some point, so you may as well get them out of the way first.
You know, I won the first PFL light heavyweight season, Antonio. I always make sure I remind people of that, but the weight class has gotten deeper. The weight class has gotten better and better every year, it seems. Is this the best light heavyweight class you have seen as a former champion?
Yes, I think so. I see a lot of tough guys, like Cal Moore, myself, Phil Davis, Wilson, a lot of good guys. So I think it's going to be tough for sure.
All right, Carl, make it official. Give me your prediction. How and when does Carl Moore get a win here?
Carl Moore knocks Antonio Silva out cold. 3 minutes, 45 seconds in the second round.
That's very specific, and I love it.
Oh.
All right, Shoeface, your turn. Give me your prediction officially.
All right, I'm going to be more conservative. I would say by points, unanimous decision.
Come on, brother. Come on, let's make it exciting. You know what I mean?
Let's
meet in the middle and just swing. Yes. Gentleman's agreement.
Let's do it like this. You start there. I'm just going to follow up. All right?
Sweet. I'll hold you to that. I'll make you a promise. I will.
All right.
I'll give you our handshake for it, brother. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it, brother.
That gives us plenty to look forward to, fellas. Enjoy the rest of training camp. We will see you soon. All right, the winner of that bout faces the winner of our final light heavyweight matchup. Sweden's Carl the King Albrektsson making a PFL debut. He steps into the smart cage against England's own 10-1 Simeon Powell. Two tall, rangy, athletic fighters, Dan.
Yeah, but let's look at the Swedish fighter first. Fighting out of Stockholm is the 20-fight veteran King Carl Albrektsson. A tough draw for anybody in this bracket and tough to deal with at any range. Albrektsson likes to chop his opponents down with damaging low kicks, working behind a steady jab. He will control the cage and gradually eat away at his adversary until the finish presents itself, and usually it's with power punches. On the other side, Simeon Powell, towering over most of his opponents. England's Simeon Powell is 10-1 in his mixed martial arts career. Now, this tournament is definitely a step up for the London native, but one that he's been calling for since his last outing. Gliding around the cage, opponents struggle to pin Simeon down, and when they try and get close to him, they get sniped at with sharp hands and really nasty knees to the head. It's very unsurprising that a guy this tall is able to knee people in the head as easily as he is short.
And we've seen it used with lethal precision by Simeon Powell. That's your whole 2025 World Tournament bracket for the light heavyweight division. And I joked about it, but this weight class, maybe more than any other, continues to improve year over year in the PFL. This is our deepest pool of talent ever.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, especially, we've got PFL champions and we've got Bellator champions meeting in the first bracket, and then on the other side we've got young prospects coming up, 6-7 fights into their career, 100% finishing rate. This is wide open for one of these young fighters to take it by storm.
May 1st, you're going to tune into ESPN 10 p.m. Eastern for continuing coverage of the 2025 PFL World Tournament. You can also go to PFLMMA.com, find out where you can watch around the world, and here's how you go get tickets.
Orlando, the first round of the PFL World Tournament, is coming to stage 19 at Universal Studios. Don't miss your chance to be part of these exclusive events, April 3rd, 11th, 18th, and May 1st. 64 of the best MMA fighters competing in 8 weight classes for one shot to be a world champion. Experience the PFL World Tournament live and up close at Universal Studios. Grab your tickets now at eventbrite.com.
Sean O'Connell and Dan Hardy on our PFL Bracket Reveal Show. One last weight class to unveil. Let's get right to our heavyweight World Tournament roster. 8 fighters representing 5 different nations, including the United Arab Emirates. Here are your heavyweights. Abraham Babley, 5-1, an English prospect who actually won a PFL Challenger Series contract back in 2023. Sergey Bilosteny, Russian heavyweight, elite knockout power, crazy athleticism. Tim Johnson, veteran of Bellator, veteran of the UFC, now veteran of the PFL as well, bringing a wealth of experience. Valentin Moldavsky, the protege of Fedor Emelianenko, former Bellator heavyweight champion and Sambo specialist. Oleg Popov, Russian standout, strong wrestling base, dominant top control. Alexander Romanov, a former UFC title contender known as King Kong. You'll see why when you see how large this man is. And Puya Rahmani, 4-0, undefeated as an Emirati prospect, but he has world-class grappling background and championship wrestling credentials. And of course, Linton Vassell, longtime heavyweight threat in the Bellator ranks, back for a PFL tournament in 2025. Take a look at the top left-hand corner of your bracket in this lineup of heavy hitters. We'll focus in on a Russian matchup, Valentin Moldavsky versus Sergey Belosteny.
So a protege of the great Fedor Emelianenko, Russia's Valentin Moldavsky has expectations of becoming one of the all-time great heavyweights in the sport. A former Bellator heavyweight champion and Sambo world champion before that, Moldavsky has already achieved a lot. But I'm sure it's still early days in the mind of the 33-year-old heavyweight who will see this world tournament as another step on his journey to greatness. And on the other side, Sergey Belosteny brings heavy hands and a finishing mindset to the PFL World Tournament. He'll want to dictate the pace and the space in the cage and keep his opponent on their feet to try and knock them out in brutal fashion. He can't be too eager as his opponents will expect this and try to take him out of his element. This is where we'll see his wrestling defense and his conditioning and see if that can open up opportunities for him later in the fight against these durable opponents.
All right, high-level matchup there in the top left-hand corner. The winner of that showdown will face the winner of our next heavyweight matchup, Alexander Romanov out of Moldova. He's got finishes in 15 out of his 18 victories, and he's taking on Tim Johnson, big-time, experienced veteran. This one is two massive-bodied heavyweights. Both these guys are going to have to cut to make 265 pounds, Dan.
This is going to be so much fun. And Tim Johnson made a fan out of me last year with that groin shot to knockout finish that he had. Wherever Tim Johnson fights, I am absolutely on board. But, you know, Romanov is a big, powerful individual as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they clash and which one will have the speed advantage.
That one's going to be fun to watch. Let's get back to our bracket. The other side features some PFL youngins, so to speak, relatively inexperienced compared to the rest of this heavyweight field. Fighting out of Dubai, Puya Rahmani facing off against Abraham Babli. Now, Rahmani is 32 years old, and he's entering this PFL tournament out of the United Arab Emirates. He's 4-0, as we already highlighted for you. Big personality, cool tattoos, foundation of grappling. And he's shown promise in how he manages fights. He gets them to the ground. He minimizes risk. You're going to have to minimize risk against the one and only Abraham Babli, because that guy is explosive.
Yeah, one of my favorite heavyweight prospects on the roster right now, fighting out of Manchester, England. For me, Babli is the dark horse in this heavyweight division. Undersized in the heavyweight division, but one thing Babli isn't is underpowered. He's able to deliver heavyweight punching power at a speed that most heavyweights struggle to deal with. And he's got that cat-like footwork, which gets him in and out of range before he takes any punishment.
I'm joined now by two heavyweight monsters, Puya Rahmani, the one and only Abraham Babli. Fellas, welcome, and let's get right to it. First of all, we'll start with you, Puya. You have less professional experience than anyone in this bracket. Why should we believe that you're on your way to a championship your first year in the PFL?
You're wrong, my brother. I have more experience than all of these guys. I'm world champion wrestling, I'm world champion grappling, and more than 7 years I train MMA. So if you want to talk about experience, I have more than 1,000 wrestling match. So this is a different level, you know.
Well, Abraham Babli, again, the same question applies to you. There's guys in this bracket with 30 pro fights, 25 pro fights. You're heading into your 7th professional fight against a guy who just said, I've got 1,000+ wrestling matches. Can you hang?
Mate, I'll be honest with you. I couldn't give a damn about his beach wrestling. Couldn't give a damn. Listen, I respect him. I respect he's a good fighter, all that good stuff, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to punch his teeth in and I'm taking the gold tooth with me. And that's a fact.
Puya, Abe said he's going to take some of your gold teeth. Let me see. Flash those teeth for us.
Yeah, let's see them, brother.
Oh,
Let's see them. Let's see which one I'm taking.
You like
Go on,
gold,
let me see. Let me see. Ooh, I love gold, mate. Let me see them. Shambles, mate. Can't wait to punch one of them out.
Puya Rahmani, the one and only Abraham Babley heavyweight bout on our way to a championship in this world tournament for the Professional Fighters League. We could have just done the whole show, those two talking trash to one another. And we've arrived now at the final matchup in our final bracket, a rematch. England's Linton Vassell and Russia's Oleg Popov.
So in 2024, Oleg Popov eliminated Linton Vassell on his way to the PFL 2024 Heavyweight Championship. Now, just a few months later, they face each other again. And just like before, one of them will be eliminated and their 2025 championship dream will be over.
There's one more look at the full heavyweight bracket. This one is going to be really fascinating to see how it shapes up. Again, the left side of the bracket, a little bit more experience. The right side, some uncertainties, some unknowns, but talent everywhere.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that we're going to get veterans kind of filtering each other out. You know, one of the veterans is going to step forward. One of the prospects is going to step forward. We've got a real mix in this heavyweight division of the future and the present. And I feel like the future might be in for the upset this time around.
All right, what's next, guys? That's it.
That's everything.
That's all we've got, partner. If you missed your favorite division being announced, go to PFLMMA.com. Get caught up over there. But before we go, let's just remind you what this tournament is all about. 8 divisions, 8 fighters per division, 1 shot to advance. Win in advance, lose, and your season is over. There's no more points. There's no more second chances. It is high stakes, single elimination fights from start to finish.
I love it. That's what a tournament is all about. High pressure, elite level competition, and of course, you know, you've only got one shot. You either make it work the first time around or you watch everybody else as they move on to that championship.
It's a lot of pressure. I don't think I could have handled it. Thanks for joining us for the 2025 PFL World Tournament Bracket Reveal Show, fueled by Valor. Be sure to be with us for the tournament kickoff April 3rd, ESPN Plus, and on ESPN2. For Dan Hardy, I'm Sean O'Connell. Good night, everyone.
The PFL World Tournament is here. Jason Jackson takes on Andre Koreshkov in a clash of former champions.
I want you!
64 of the best MMA fighters competing in 8 weight classes for 1 shot to be a world champion. Don't miss the action Thursday, April 3rd at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus.